Hello again, friends. I have a shorter video for you today, mainly because I'm not up for the trial of the sword yet because I haven't psyched myself up enough. When I do, I'm sure it'll garner its own video just for the trial.
Little freeze frame to appreciate this stupid asshole.
So stay tuned for that, I suppose. There's one super cute little cutscene for the trial that I can't wait to see again, so I doubt you'll be waiting too long for that one. Today, though, we're gonna pull the Master Sword and complete the Korok Trials hidden away in the forest. I'll teach you how to traverse the Lost Woods too while we're at it. This version of the woods has a really neat navigating gimmick, in my opinion, so let's get into it.
We'll start at the woodland tower and glide our way down to the nearest path, which will lead us directly to the entrance of the Korok Forest. There's this one sneaky foot soldier right at the entrance to the woods, but he's very easily taken care of. The way to safely traverse the Lost Woods is super simple. You need to follow the embers. What that means is basically whenever you see a lit torch, you need to observe which way the embers from the flame float in the air, and walk in that direction until you find the next lit torch. I like to kind of angle my camera to be as close to a bird's eye view as I can get. It's easier to follow the embers trail that way. Just keep going until you find the matching pair of torches. There's a hand torch leaning up against one of the lit torches that you'll want to grab. These are the last stationary torches on the path, so now we have to create our own embers to follow. Light your torch and stand still for a moment. Take account of which way the embers are flowing off your torch and walk that way. Pause every few yards and readjust your trajectory according to the embers' direction. Once the fog lets up and you see the clear path, you can extinguish your torch. The path leads right into the heart of the forest. The first thing I like to do is activate and complete the central shrine in the forest, Kyo Rug. It's right under this big root. Now, this isn't super flattering, but I don't actually remember how to solve this shrine. I do, however, have the solution memorized, so I'm just going to find a walkthrough online to quote from. Each column represents a constellation that you can see at the head of each column on the lower wall, and each light represents the number of constellations that appear on the far high wall. Count the number of constellations on the upper wall, and place a ball into the container in the column that matches the number of constellations you count. Did you get that? Because I didn't, and it doesn't matter. It goes first column, row 5, second column, row 3. Third column, row 1, and fourth column, row 2. Once you've done that, you can go back and reorder the balls to a different position to open the gate that leads to the chest. The new order goes column 1, row 4, column 2, row 2, column 3, row 2, and column 4, row 1. All done there. Time to watch one of the few cutscenes that I don't skip and pull the Master Sword.
Link, you are our final hope. The fate of Hyrule rests with you.
Who is that? Did I doze off again? Well, well. It's you. You finally decided to return. Better late than never. After 100 years, I'd nearly given up hope on seeing you again. Even my patience has limits, you know. That look on your face tells me that you have no recollection of me, however. I have watched over Hyrule since time immemorial. Many have referred to me over the ages as the Deku Tree. That is the weapon created by the ancient goddess. The sword that seals the darkness that only the chosen knight can wield against the Calamity Ganon. Believe it or not, it was actually you who wielded that sword 100 years ago. But I must warn you to take extreme caution. The sword stands as a test to anyone who would dare attempt to possess it. As you are now, I cannot say whether you are worthy or not. If you sought to free the sword in any sort of weakened state, you would surely lose your life where you stand. Best of luck, young one.
You need at least 13 hearts to pull the Master Sword, and unfortunately, temporary hearts don't count here. I pulled this one off by the skin of my teeth, seeing as I didn't bother counting my hearts. I just kind of figured it looked like enough. Now that we've obtained the base Master Sword, we can complete the Korok Trials before we leave the forest. I'll pick up a handful of side quests from the various Koroks milling about the forest while we're here too. Take a look around for Chio. He's slightly larger than the average Korok and has a fancy mushroom growing out of his noggin. Once he recognizes you as the hero, he'll lay 3 challenges out before you: the Trial of Second Sight, the Lost Pilgrimage, and the Test of Wood. We'll start with the Lost Pilgrimage, which is easily my least favorite of the 3 trials, so I figured I'd get it out of the way. It's a super basic stealth escorting mission. You need to follow the Korok Oki as he makes his way to a shrine at the edge of the forest without being seen by him. Sounds easy enough in theory, but it's actually quite obnoxious. He's surprisingly observant. Tasha will explain the trial, and then you can start off. It can be really easy to lose Oki in the texture of the grass, so try and keep an eye on him at all times. His field of vision isn't all that wide, so you can follow fairly close behind him without being seen. I tend to just crouch and tiptoe a few feet behind him. You shouldn't need any stealth potions. We're in the forest, so we're lucky enough to have tons of big-ass trees to hide behind along the way. If you see the question mark appear above Oki's head, you're going to want to get a read on which direction he's facing and hide. He'll wander a bit as he's investigating, so keep on your toes to avoid detection. Once the question mark disappears, he'll make his way back to his designated pathing and keep going. I was super lucky here and back far enough that he didn't spot me, even though it felt like he was looking right at me. When Oki notices the pretty flowers, he'll be right at the opening of a giant fallen log. Just creep around the side of it and position yourself at the other end so he won't see you when he comes out the other side. When he asks if someone is there, he's about to spook and turn around, so make sure you're far back enough that he won't see you. Once he recovers from the spook, he'll get back to his pathing again. You want to take this wolf out before he howls and calls his friends, alerting Oki to your presence. Make sure you don't jump the gun when you finally see the shrine. If you get there even slightly before Oki, you'll have to do the entire thing again from the beginning. Dag Choka Shrine is a blessing shrine, along with the other two trial shrines. All three chests contain a piece of ancient tech for you to swipe. Let's warp back to Kyo Rug at the heart of the forest and start making our way east toward the Test of Wood. Damia will explain the trial and inform you that it's also the hardest out of the three. To complete the Test of Wood, we need to fight our way to the shrine at the back of the area while only using the provided sword, shield, and bow. It sounds easy enough, but they seriously dump a shit ton of enemies in your way. Try and conserve your equipment, using it only when it can't be avoided. Things are going to start out slow and get intense really fast. Basically, I'm just going to keep moving until I get overwhelmed, and then bust out Rivali's Gale and just kind of glide over the majority of the fighting. I honestly wouldn't recommend even attempting the Trial of Wood without already having Rivali's Gale. I got really lucky here and didn't even need to use Rivali's Gale the first time. The first fire coos I came across ignited the dry grass in front of me, and I just jumped into the updraft it created. That got me past the majority of the fighting, so I could just glide over the swamp directly to the shrine. After Mog Halan's blessing, we can warp back to the central forest again and start making our way southwest towards Lake Saria for our final test, the Trial of Second Sight. This one is super simple, even though I'm sure the devs would like to consider it a real puzzle. Zuki tells us that we just have to make it to the shrine without getting lost in the mist. The earlier strategy of following the embers isn't going to work here though. Zuki imparts on us a riddle that will lead us to the shrine. He says, "The hungry trees will show you the way. Spy their iron to win the day." So yeah, flick on Magnesis and follow the iron boulders that are lodged inside the mouths of the creepy trees. Keep this up until you don't see another boulder, but can spy a rusty shield in the distance. A ton of stall monsters are going to pop out when you approach the shield, so we'll have to take them all out before we can progress. Try not to wander too far from the shield as you fight, or you'll get lost in the mist and have to start over. Once we dispatch all the monsters, we can advance to the next tree and read his sign. I really like this little section of game. I think the semi-sentient trees tickle my jollies in just the right way. His sign reads, "Feed me the age shield guarded by monsters eternal. My brother will repay you in kind." So we can just plop the rusty shield behind us right in the tree's open mouth to spawn in a chest in his brother's mouth a little closer to the shore of the lake. The chest only contains a piece of amber, which doesn't help us advance. If we look to the center of the lake, however, we can see another tree with his own sign. His sign reads, "Please place my chest in my mouth. The shield eater's brother stole it from me," which I find hilarious. We can't use magnesis while swimming or gliding, so we'll have to use this conveniently placed raft. Get the chest situated and grab one of the korok leaves in the water. You can aim your wind gusts from the leaf using R instead of just wildly swinging it around and praying you go in the right direction. And with Kun Sadaj's blessing, we've finished the Korok Trials.
And that's it for the Korok Forest. The Kyo Rug Shrine is a great example of me having played through this game way too many times. There are going to be a handful of shrines that I'm going to need to look up the actual solutions for because I just have the puzzles and their answers memorized. One of my very, very few skills is being the official Zelda friend. I do have a Triforce tattooed on my face, so I have to at least pretend that I know what I'm talking about here. I'm thinking the next time we'll get started on the DLC of the main storyline and crack into the Champions ballads. Stick around if you have any interest in watching that. I'll see y'all next time.